Hello dear students, welcome back in class 10th biology. Students, I hope that you all are well. I also hope that you all are watching video lectures of biology regularly and making notes by understanding them. Today we will start a new chapter 8, How do organisms reproduce? The main topic of today's lecture is asexual mode of reproduction. In this lecture, you will learn in detail about reproduction and its need. Do organisms create exact copies of themselves? Importance of DNA copying, importance of variations, types of reproduction, that is asexual and sexual reproduction, various modes of asexual reproduction like fission, fragmentation, regeneration, budding, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce young ones of their own kind. For example, unicellular organisms like bacteria reproduce to form bacteria. Amoeba reproduce to form amoeba. Multicellular organisms like human beings reproduce and give birth to human beings. Plants like rose plant grows to form rose plant. Potato plant grows to form potato plant. Earthworm give rise to earthworm, and many more examples. But actually, students' reproduction is not an essential life process as is nutrition, respiration, or excretion, because it is not necessary for the survival of an individual organism. If our digestive system or respiratory system or excretory system does not function properly in the body, it means it will affect the normal functioning of the body and the organism is said to be unhealthy. It may be life threatening. But if the reproductive system does not work, it does not mean that the organism does not live healthy life. Rather, a lot of resources and energy are spent by an individual organism in order to take part in reproduction. In spite of this, it is the most important characteristics of all living organisms. Now the question arises, why it is an important characteristic of all living organisms? Why do organisms reproduce? Why reproduction is essential? Reproduction is essential to maintain the race, to continue the race, or to replace the dead individuals. New individuals are added to the population, compensate for the loss by death. Reproduction introduce and transfer the variations into the offsprings or of young ones and plays an important role in evolution. That is why reproduction is essential. Now, when the organisms reproduce, the question arises in our mind, do organisms create exact copy of themselves? Students, organisms look similar because their body designs are similar. If body designs are to be similar, the blueprints for these body designs should be similar. What are the blueprints of these body designs? To answer this question, let us recall what you have studied in your junior classes. Chromosomes are present in the nucleus of the cell. They are made up of DNA and proteins, and these chromosomes are responsible for inheritance of characters from parents to next generation in the form of DNA. And DNA is the blueprint of body design of living organisms, means it contains all the information of features of body design of the parent cell, the functional segment of DNA is called gene, and gene is the hereditary unit that carries the similar features from the parents to next generation. Let us see what are the basic events of reproduction that takes place in a cell. During reproduction, when the reproductive cell or the parent cell divides to give rise to two new daughter cells, the two basic events takes place in the cell. One is DNA copying, that is replication of DNA or duplication of DNA. Second, copying of cellular apparatus. DNA copying takes place in nucleus part of the cell. Copying of cellular apparatus takes place in cytoplasm part of the cell. Let us see how it happens in the cell with the help of this picture. When the cell divides, it involves the division of the nucleus followed by the division of cytoplasm. Inside the nucleus, chromosomes are present. When chromosome divide, actually various biochemical reactions takes place during this event. You know, chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins, and DNA is the blueprint of body design of the cell. It contains all the information of the parent cell which is to be carried from the parent cell to the next generation. In order to carry the similar body features from the parent cell to the daughter cell, this DNA involves certain biochemical reactions. It undergoes replication. It starts making the carbon copy of itself. It duplicates. And during this DNA copying, when it makes carbon copy of itself, various biochemical reactions are involved. We know that DNA is the information source of making proteins. And if the information is accurate, then the same proteins will be formed and same features are passed on from parent cell to the next generation. But as this DNA copying involves various biochemical reactions, then it may be possible that the information for making the proteins may be changed and new proteins may be formed, which lead to variations in the new daughter cell. So we can say that DNA copying mechanism involves various biochemical reactions, and no biochemical reaction is absolutely accurate. It involves certain errors, and these errors during DNA copying are the source of variations in the new cells, and new cells may look similar but may not be identical to the original parent cell. They may look similar. You can see that these two cells are similar to this parent cell but may not be identical. They may behave differently due to small errors occur in them due to inaccuracy during DNA copying in their biochemical reactions. So we can say that this inbuilt tendency for variation in the living organism is the source of evolution. What is the importance of DNA copying? DNA copying during reproduction is important because it transfers the similar body design features and hereditary information from one generation to another, means from parent cell to daughter cells, and maintain the body design of different organism. This is the main function of DNA copying. But we know that DNA copying involves various biochemical reactions and it is not an error-proof method, which due to which variations occur in the newly formed cells. So this is the importance of DNA copying. DNA copying helps to maintain the similar body design features from the parent cells into the new daughter cells, but it may also lead to variations due to inaccuracies during DNA copying. As DNA copying is not an error-proof method, it may lead to variations. What is the importance of variations that occur in the newly formed cells or daughter cells? Students, population of organisms are confined to their niche or well-defined places or habitat. Niche means habitat, the living place where they are living by utilizing the resources and adapting to the environment. DNA copying help in maintaining the body design features so that these organisms use their niche and to survive in the existing environment. This is due to the DNA copying which transfer the similar body features from parents to next generation. However, in case niche or habitat or surroundings in which the organisms survive change because of any reason like change in temperature, change in climate, change in water levels, or as a result of meteorite hits, and the population of reproducing organisms cannot adjust to the changes in the environment due to these calamities, then their species will wipe out and extinct. However, if there are some variations present in the same in some individuals of the same population, they may able to survive the change in the environment and reproduce to continue their race. Let us take one example. Bacteria living in temperate waters will die in case of rise in temperature of water. But if few variants are there that are resistant to heat will survive. This means that variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species and for the evolution of new species. Now let us see what are the advantages of occurrence of variations in individuals. These are the variations in the individual that help in the survival of species. These variations form the basis of evolution. These variations bring about adaptation in the individuals to their environment. Now let us do types of reproduction. There are two main types of reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, the production of young ones by a single parent without the formation and fusion of gametes or sex cells or reproductive cells, is called asexual reproduction. It is called uniparental reproduction as it involves single parent. Sexual reproduction, the production of young ones by the formation and fusion of gametes contributed by two parents, male parent and female parent, is called sexual reproduction. It is also known as biparental reproduction as it involves two parents, male parent and female parent. Now let us continue the modes of asexual reproduction. There are various modes of asexual reproduction: budding, fission, which is further of two types, binary fission, multiple fission, fragmentation, regeneration, and vegetative propagation. Let us start with fission. It is the mode of asexual reproduction by a single parent divides to form two or more individuals. It is of two types, binary fission and multiple fission. In binary fission, as the name indicates binary, bi means two. In this type of fission, a single parent splits to form two daughter individuals. It occurs under favorable conditions. During this fission, first nucleus of the parent cell divides and then it forms two daughter nuclei, and then the cytoplasm divides and form the two daughter cells. This type of fission occurs in bacteria, protozoans like amoeba, paramecium and leishmania that causes Kala Azar. Leishmania is a type of protozoan that causes Kala Azar. Let us see binary fission in amoeba with the help of this diagram. Under favorable environmental conditions for growth and development, parent amoeba reproduces by binary fission. During this process, the nucleus of parent amoeba elongates and then divides into two nuclei, followed by the division of cytoplasm. Then a constriction appears which deepens and deepens in the middle of its body and finally divides the parent body into two daughter amoebae. Now binary fission in Leishmania. Leishmania is a parasitic protozoan which causes Kala Azar disease. It has whip-like flagellum at its anterior end. Its body divides longitudinally by longitudinal binary fission. First two flagella are formed, then its nucleus divides and leads to division of body lengthwise and form two daughter Leishmania. What is difference between binary fission in amoeba and Leishmania? Both reproduce by binary fission. Binary fission in amoeba shows that an amoeba has irregular shape. It does not have any definite shape, so it can divide into two daughter amoebae through any plane. Binary fission in Leishmania. Leishmania has definite shape and a whip-like structure at its one end. So binary fission occurs in a definite orientation, that is called longitudinal binary fission in relation to their structure. Now see another type of fission, that is multiple fission. In this fission, a single parent cell splits to form many new organisms or daughter cells at the same time. It occurs both under favorable and unfavorable conditions. During unfavorable environmental conditions, organisms secrete a protective covering called the cyst around the cell. Inside the cyst, nucleus divides several times to form a number of daughter nuclei. Each daughter nucleus gets surrounded with a bit of cytoplasm. Thus, a large number of daughter individuals are formed. On the arrival of favorable conditions, the cyst ruptures and single-celled daughter individuals are set free. Each grows into a complete organism. This type of multiple fission occurs in Plasmodium, a type of protozoan which is also known as malarial parasite. It produces about 1000 daughter organisms at one time. Now see another type of asexual mode of reproduction, fragmentation. It is a mode of asexual reproduction which takes place in very simple multicellular organisms like filamentous algae, that is Spirogyra. The organism simply breaks up into smaller pieces or fragments upon maturation. Each piece or fragment grows into a new individual. This type of asexual reproduction is called fragmentation. Now see regeneration. Regeneration is the ability of living organism to reform its lost or injured body parts. It is helpful in multiplication of some animals like hydra or planaria. The animals like hydra or planaria, if cut into pieces, each piece grows the missing part and form the complete organism. This mode of multiplication is called regeneration. You can see from here, this hydra cuts into number of pieces, and each cut piece has the ability to grow into a new individual by reforming its lost body part with the help of regenerative cells. Similarly, this planaria cut into pieces, and each piece has the ability to reform its lost or injured body part, and by forming this it forms a complete organism, and this becomes a mode of asexual reproduction in these type of organisms. Now the question arises, how is regeneration carried out in organisms like planaria and hydra? Regeneration is carried out by specialized regenerative cells or stem cells. These cells proliferate, means divide and redivide to form a large number of cells. And from this mass of cells, different cells undergo changes and differentiate to become various cell types and tissues. These changes occur in an organized manner referred to as development. Now the question arises, is regeneration same as reproduction? The answer is no. Regeneration is not similar to reproduction because an organism will not able or depend upon being cut or broken for their reproduction. Why it so? Because higher multicellular organisms have limited power of regeneration. They do not have regenerative cells in the various parts of their body which may have the ability to cut and form a new individual from the cut body part. Let us take the example of tail in wall lizard. Wall lizard has the capacity or ability to remove its tail to get rid of its predator, because it has the ability to reform its tail with the help of regenerative cells or special stem cells present in the tail. But from the cut tail, the new wall lizard cannot reform, because in such organism, development and differentiation are controlled by nervous and hormonal systems. They have well organized body where the specialized cells are organized as tissues and tissues are organized into organs which are placed at a definite position in the body. In such a carefully designed or organized situations, the simple mode of reproduction like fragmentation or regeneration would not be possible, so they use more complex ways of reproduction, that is sexual reproduction with the help of special sex organs. Let us see budding in hydra with the help of this diagram. This is parent hydra. It uses regenerative cells for reproduction in the process of budding. In hydra, a small bud develops as an outgrowth due to repeated cell division at one specific site of its body. These buds grow and form tiny individual. It forms tentacles and other body organs. When fully mature, this detaches from the parent body and become a new independent individual. Now let us see budding in yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungus widely used in baking industries. During budding in yeast, a small bud appears on one side of parent yeast. The nucleus of the parent yeast cell divides into two. One of them moves into the bud. The bud ultimately separates from the parent cell to form a new daughter yeast. Sometimes budding occurs so rapidly that the daughter cell starts budding even before being separated from the parent cell and form a long chain of yeast cells. This is yeast, budding in yeast. What is spore formation? Spore formation is a type of asexual reproduction where organisms produce reproductive cells called spores that germinate and produce a new colony of daughter organisms. This type of reproduction occurs in rhizopus or bread mold. If moist bread is kept in open for few days, the thread-like structures called hyphae develop on it. These thread-like hyphae are actually not the reproductive parts, but the tiny blob on a stick structure called sporangium or plural called sporangia are produced, which are involved in reproduction. So sporangia are the reproductive structures that contain number of dark colored spores. When sporangia mature, it gets mature, they burst open and release spores in the air. These spores are covered with thick protective covering called cyst that protect these spores during unfavorable conditions, and when they get favorable conditions like warmth, moisture, etc., the cyst wall breaks and spores germinate to form new rhizopus colony. What are the various benefits of spore formation to an individual organism? Spores are covered by thick protective covering called cyst around them that protect them during unfavorable conditions. And when the favorable conditions return, this cyst breaks off and release the spores, and these spores grow to form new rhizopus colony. These spores are tiny and very light structures, so they can get easily dispersed by wind or water to far off places easily. These individuals formed by spores are genetically similar to their parents. Now see vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction in plants which grow into new plants from their vegetative parts like roots, stems, leaves under appropriate conditions without the involvement of reproductive organs or without seeds. It takes place by roots, for example, dahlia, sweet potato, turnip, beetroot, etc. They grow by roots. Some plants grow by stems like potato tuber, onion, ginger, grass, etc. Some plants grow by their leaves, and very common example is bryophyllum. The buds present in the notches along the margin of leaves of bryophyllum fall on the soil and develop to form a new plant. Cutting is common man-made method of vegetative propagation in plants. Stem cutting, root cutting, leaf cutting are the methods used for artificial vegetative propagation. Rose, sugarcane, jasmine, etc. are grown through stem cutting. In layering, new plants are produced from the parent stem without detaching it in the initial stage. And many plants are grown by layering method like grapes, jasmine, lychee, pomegranate, etc. Grafting is another method of artificial vegetative propagation. The technique of joining the shoot system of one plant over the stump of another related plant to form a composite plant is called grafting. You can see that this picture shows grafting. The plant whose root system is taken is called stalk, and the plant whose shoot system is taken is called scion. The stalk is always a plant which is resistant to diseases and has deep system of roots for absorbing water and minerals. And scion is the part of the plant that give you better yield. Grafting is used to improve varieties and production of fruits in mango, apple, pear, guava, citrus, etc. Have a look on other diagrams, other pictures. This picture again shows bryophyllum, and see the various buds which grow into new plant from the margin of the parent leaf. And this is again potato tuber. The depressions in the potato tuber shows the eyes, and if you sow this potato having these eyes as buds in the soil, then the new plant arise from this potato tuber. Similarly, this portion represent layering, where the new plants are produced from the parent stem without detaching it in the initial stage, and the new plant grows then afterwards as an independent plant. This is the picture of money plant, and we can use the stem cutting of money plant to grow a new plant from it. Now see the various advantages of vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is an easier and cheaper method than collecting and germinating the seeds. It is a quick mode of propagation in seedless plants. Plants raised by this method can bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seeds. It also makes possible the propagation of plants like banana, orange, rose, jasmine, which have lost their capacity to produce seeds. All plants produced by this method are genetically similar enough to their parent plants to have all its characteristics. So students, this is all for today's lecture. I hope that you have understood the topic. If you have any query or any doubt, you ask me telephonically or through WhatsApp. So thank you so much for watching this video. Stay safe, stay healthy.